he's not my boy. He's a guy I know from the league, but he's not my friend like that. I didn't come here to make friends with him. I came here to play basketball with him. Like, this guy's a fucking clown.
Yeah, and who could blame him?
Every player on that team, every member of that organization thinks he's a fucking clown. And what Kyrie does is Kyrie does so many good things off the court that he does not get enough credit for. And that's because he does shit like this. Like, he's like a rebel without a cause, and it lets people create a narrative for him and about him. And it's now impossible to defend it and argue against it because he's talking last night. What's his plan of action? So he's not playing basketball. He thinks like de Blasio's going to change the mandate tomorrow and let hospital workers, work if they're not vaccinated. Does Kyrie ever play basketball? He's doing nothing. I think I want to read a tweet from Irina. What's her name? The old Nets lady, Russian chick.
Irina Pavlova.
She had a great tweet here. She says, I think the main issue with Kyrie at this point isn't the vaccine or the mandates. It's that he showed more than once he's an unreliable teammate. There's always going to be some social cause to justify not showing up for work. Imagine if everyone did that. The money he makes per game, he could have done a lot more good by donating it to the voiceless that have lost their jobs. Instead, he's just screwing over his teammates. Even if he gets back tomorrow, the aftertaste will linger. So what's the net of Kyrie's protests? Are the unvaccinated getting their jobs back? No. Are the mandates going away anytime soon? Not likely. Has he screwed over the team that's been counting out the championship run? Absolutely. She nailed it.
Yeah.
He's accomplishing nothing and fucking everyone over that he supposedly is friends with, works with, the organization that he claims to love, and he's just fucking everyone over because he's a petulant child.
And it doesn't help him, whether you agree wholeheartedly with that or you agree with it a little bit, it does not help him to pretend like that's not the case.
Right. The mandate is bullshit. I don't agree with it. But so what?
Yeah,
right.
I mean, it's the law. Like if someone said to you, if someone was like, Kyrie hasn't paid taxes in 2 years, and it was like, oh shit, he actually is indicted for that. Like he should have paid taxes. What are like that's going to be like, Kyrie, we stand for you and what you do? It's like, oh, everyone else did it. Like, what are we talking about here? Like there are plenty of laws that I think we should be more decriminalized, but there's certain things in the law I don't know what to tell you.
It's immature, and this is a person who I appreciate his art. You understand what I mean? What I'm saying? Like, I pay a lot of money to go and appreciate his art. He's an amazing basketball player. But that still does not give him the right to tell other people that this is the way that you protest, or that this is the way you stand up for causes, by not doing the job that you agreed to do, that you signed on to do, and not delivering what your role is, not just to Joe Tsai and the Brooklyn Nets, but to Kevin Durant, who made sacrifices to go after this thing with you, to achieve this goal with you. And you basically get on for 20 minutes and play the martyr, play the victim.
Yeah, the victim. That's the victim.
I don't know why everybody is so concerned with what I do. Maybe because you're a superstar athlete, dumb fuck.
Right. For the same reason why they gave you $200 million to sell sneakers. The same reason that, like I could see the disappointment in Kyrie in an extreme, because I have an 8-year-old son who loves basketball. My son is like, I think they're lying on Kyrie to say he's not vaxxed when he is vaxxed. And I said, an 8-year-old brain is not the most, especially 8-year-old boy brain, it's not the most dependable, line of thinking. But he showed me what other dudes are doing online in Nets Twitter right now, they're just being, they're willing to scapegoat everyone and everything. Like Stephen A. Smith isn't the most logical dude in the world. Is he wrong about most things? Yes, but he's not wrong when he says that was nothing. He didn't say anything.
Yeah.
And people came away from it like it was a religious experience.
If we had real beat writers, they'd ask real questions. What are they going to ask about? Fucking backup center rotation?
Yeah.
Nobody cares about that shit right now.
That's the thing that I'm actually now, and this is also a good somewhat of a pivot. The thing that I have now become the most frustrated about is the idea that the naivete and the just lack of like any type of awareness about the media landscape we live in, and that people have the audacity to get on the media for questioning about the Kyrie situation, and then coupled with that saying like, and we know the people who have said what I'm about to say, saying like, well, you know, like the team actually like is totally fine with everything going on, like they don't really see this as that big of a deal. Like they're I don't even think they get tired them out that much. They looked completely dead in the Sixer game, and all of their press conferences before before and even including today sound like people that have already been through a 42-game grind, because this is clearly like weight on them, and I don't blame them because it's ridiculous.
It is not honest. It is not honest, Sam.
There's a problem.
Yeah, exactly. And so what I don't
Hold on, Sam. Don't go too far. Don't go too far away. It's because that's what you said was important.
Yep.
It is not honest for someone to make that argument and look at the way Kevin Durant and James Harden responded. The way they would have liked to have responded is like this. Yeah, that's my boy. I support him 100%. He's doing the right thing. We need people out there willing to stand up to the government. That's not what James Harden and Kevin Durant are saying.
Nope.
They're basically telling you by their response, and I this is not even reading in between the lines. If they're not saying we 100% support him, he's like, you know, Kyrie's a grown man. He made his decision. Once you say Kyrie's a grown man, he made a decision, that's saying that he made a decision that has nothing to do with the team, and he's not with us.
Yep.
James Harden said, we are moving on.
I'm
worried about the people who's here working hard every day.
Which, by the way, is why what he did yesterday, I know that people were like, well, he didn't speak, and you guys were mad, and then he did speak, and you're still mad. It's like, two things can be true. Most of life is gray. It's not black or white. When he spoke yesterday, what he did, because everything he said was so nonsensical and actually created more uncertainty, actually took away from the fact that the team had fully moved on. But he says this thing that's basically like, I'm not anti-vax, and I still love my teammates, and this has nothing to do with the organization. I still love to play ball, so that took away the whole retiring thing. And he also kept mentioning his teammates, so it made it seem like he's not mad at the Nets, and he kept on mentioning that he has no issue with the Nets and all that stuff. And it's like, dude, like you can't have the audacity to say in a media session that the last thing you want to do is be a distraction, and then act like you live in a world where there isn't a 24/7 like news cycle. Like all what he did yesterday by not having an actually like very thought out, like not gray like statement, and instead, very gray statement, like is he created more of a cloud of uncertainty, because every single week you're going to hear rumors from different people being like, oh, you know, I heard he might be coming back soon. Oh, people saw him working out here. Oh, people saw him working out there. Like it's not sustainable. Like being on a team is not like this thing where they're impenetrable from any type of outside thing. Like this is going to be a thing, knowing Kyrie and knowing how much he says he doesn't love attention but really is obsessed with it and is a complete and utter narcissist. Like it's going to be on the team until he says one way or another, I'm coming back on Christmas. or I guarantee you I do not play this year if the mandate isn't lifted. Like it's just going to be a thing that's going to be hovering over the team forever.
And you want to know
this
what?
is my last comment on Kyrie Irving. Other than maybe in the future saying this is where they miss Kyrie. This is my last comment on Kyrie Irving. To the fans out there who are like, don't cheer for him when he comes back.
Yeah,
fuck off. You're an idiot.
I know
Right.
That is the notion that you can't be mad at a player for doing something. You have to be either 100 or 0 is like the stupidest thing I have ever heard in my life.
It's ridiculous.
Let's just make a pact that from here on out we don't talk about Kyrie other than as it relates to his actions. We're not going to discuss his ridiculous view here. We'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, no.
I doubt anybody wants to keep hearing the same shit. I'm tired of talking about it. I'm tired of hearing about it. I'm tired of getting texts from my friends who are Knicks fans about it. I'm just done with the whole thing.
Yeah, and I also think I also feel like Kevin Durant put it to bed today. They're gonna talk about it all, but Tuesday real basketball starts.
And by the way, Nash also had a good comment before the game started.
What did he say?
He basically was just like, I didn't watch Kyrie's. It was funny what he said. He goes, I actually didn't watch Kyrie's Instagram live, and if it's all right with you guys, I'm ready to move forward.
Yeah, he basically said, I have nothing further to add. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Nothing's changed, so what else can I give you?
Right. The statement the statement that says everything has been made already. Like, people could make light of it, people could try to minimize it, but they said we're moving on without him. They could have played him half the time if to pay you to stay away is a hell of a statement. And I understand the Kyrie stands and they'll make every excuse to why that's happening, but to pay you not to play is a hell of a statement, especially with the amount of luxury tax that Joe Tsai is playing. The man has been vaxxed 4 times. I can't say that enough. This is a person who have taken 2 different vaccinations under 2 standards for 2 different countries. And he's paying a man all of that money, and he couldn't do the same thing that him and everybody in his organization has been demanded to do. Like, I think it's retarded when people say, and I hate that word retarded, I'm sorry for saying it. It's crazy when people say, and I promise we'll shut it down after this, but it's crazy when people say, how could you judge Kyrie for doing what's right for him, and 50% of NYPD employees are vaxxed. 100% of Joe Tsai employees are vaxxed. That's the comparison. Not the NYPD, not the LAPD, who are unfortunately dying. 100% of the people in the Nets organization are vaxxed, except Kyrie Irving. And that's the standard.
Sorry. I wanted to close out with one thing. I do think, by the way, in light of everything going on, I actually think that the way the Nets have handled themselves throughout this entire process has actually been, like, for a person like me who's rooted for a bunch of teams, especially with the Giants not being the organization they once were, it seems like, and the Nets typically being who they used to be. I actually think the way they've handled this, considering it's a totally, like, novel, like, concept, I think it's, like, really impressive. And I think that Marks and Nash and Tsai and everyone else putting their foot down on the Kyrie thing was impressive. I think the fact that this whole thing has been buttoned up has been impressive. I think that, like, the fact that, like, the stress for vaccination, I think is great and is really holding firm. And I think it's going to look good for the franchise moving forward. I think they have totally done the right thing. And I really do feel very proud to be a Net fan, as cliche or weird or lame as that may sound. I do really feel that way in light of everything going on.
Do you know how whack it is that we've got this great organization, and Jim Dolan's team is all vaxxed. Like that, that Trump support.